Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and sad to report, building work seems to have come into season in my street, and both across the way and possibly even somewhere behind me there is building work. So I really hope it doesn't interfere. It shouldn't be as bad as even Maverick, but you never know. We will see how we get on. Now, we got an email from Donatello86, and we are going to feature one of Donatello's puzzles today. I'd looked up just to make sure we hadn't featured a puzzle by Donatello before, and I'm convinced it is a debut. It may even be the first time we've been written to by a turtle, but I cannot confirm or deny that. However, it's not the first time we've done a puzzle called Vortex. I remember your thing, A Majestic Hobo, from a couple of years ago. And I guess Vortex is a slightly popular name for the look of certain puzzles. And this one certainly has a lot of markings in the grid, apparently pointing towards the center, which I guess is where the Vortex idea comes from. So I think a Vortex is originally a whirlpool, but it's now been assimilated for a kind of attractive force in space where everything whirls round into it. Anyway, we will try and go into the Vortex in a moment or two. Don't forget that on Patreon, you can find your way to our various monthly challenges and all of the other content we put out there, crossword videos, connections videos, all sorts of things, tough solves by Simon sometimes, and solution videos to previous month's hunts. So check it all out. There is some great content on Patreon, also great content in our apps, which feature Crop Key Sudoku, Line Sudoku, Killer Sudoku, Arrow Sudoku. Anything else in today's? I think that's enough. So if you like these styles of puzzles, and there are various hybrid puzzles as well in those apps, do check them out. They're on the links under the video, along with our merchandise, like this marvellous cap, in which you can be cracking the cryptic all day long, or, of course, Sven's SUDOKU PAD. But the first link is to Vortex by Donatello86, and I'm going to go through the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. 1 to 9 will go in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Digits in cages cannot repeat and sum to the number given, so those 5 digits are different, add up to 35. Digits on a green line, well, the digits, neighbouring digits on a green line have a difference of at least 5. That's the German whisper rule. Cells separated by a white dot have consecutive digits in, so this might be 1 and 2. Cells separated by a black dot have digits with a ratio of 1 to 2, so this might also be 1 and 2. And that's all we need to know, the normal rules for these markings. Lots of markings in the grid doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy, but you can probably judge from the video length, which I cannot. Let's get cracking. So, that 35 cage, which I highlighted in the intro, is going to be 98765, because that's the only way to make up 35. I think that is the only giveaway cages. These 15 cages, which are very symmetrically disposed. There's a lot of symmetry about this puzzle. The 15 cages average 5, which does not make them guessable. The 31 cage is pretty, in fact there's 2 of them, pretty high, but nothing like, anyway, let's look at the 35 cage. Right, there's a black dot here. There are only 6 black dot digits in Sudoku that can go on these black dots, and they don't include 9, 7, and 5. So this is 6 or 8. That means it's even. That means the digit it's touching on the white dot is odd. It also means the digit it's touching on the black dot is low, is 3 or 4. Okay, I don't think I'm getting very far with this, so I'm going to move my attention to these sort of spidery arrow circles in the corners, which are all the same. They all have 3 2-cell arrows emanating. Now, that means they are all selected from the numbers 7, 8, and 9. And there are some slightly interesting features about boxes like boxes 1, 3, 7 and 9 here. So one of those features is that if this is a 7, these two digits that are not on the arrows are known to be 8 and 9, because obviously you couldn't put either 8 or 9 on a 7 arrow. If this was an 8, these two digits would be known to be 9 and 4. And that's because you clearly can't put 9 on an 8 arrow, but you also can't put 4 on a 2-cell 8 arrow where the two digits have to be different. However, if this was 9, these would be 3 of the 4 pairs that add up to 9, and this would be the 4th pair. So that's not necessarily very helpful. Now, does this have to be low? It's often very helpful to establish the polarity, the height or lowness of digits on green lines. And we can almost confidently say this is low. There is only 6 or 7 that it could be and be high, but that is possible. However, if this was high, these would all be high because of the differences on the German whisper line. Digits alternate between higher than 5 and lower than 5. 5 can never sit on a German whisper line because it has no possible neighbours. So these are all the same style. Let's make them yellow and these red. So these are all either low, which seems very likely, or possibly high. If they were high, every single one of these is going to have to be 6 or 7. And then the arrows that they're on are going to have 1 or 2. Okay, I've been looking at the wrong thing. Well, that's fair enough. I often do. Let's look at this column. Oh, this is interesting. Right. Now, I get to share another secret. I've told you something about German whispers. I get to share another secret with you, which is that the sum of every row, every column, and every box in a Sudoku is always the same, and we know what it is. It's 45. That's because those areas need 1 to 9 put in them. 1 to 9 always add up to the same thing. That number is 45. It's the 9th triangular number. Anyway, if this group of cells, let's make them green, add up to 45, then we can deduct the 15 cage. And now we know that the green cells add up to 30. Now we know, because obviously those two add up to that one and those two add up to that one, effectively these blue cells are half of 30 and these green cells are half of 30. And if the green cells are half of 30, and we've restricted them to 7, 8 and 9, they must be a 7, 8 pair. And that must apply in this column as well, and indeed in row 1 and column 1. And now we've got 7, 8 pairs in the corners, which is interesting when you go back to what I was saying about these other cells in boxes 1, 3, 7, 9. They are now either 9, 8 or 9, 4 every time. And they always include a 9. And that 9, therefore, rotates around the grid into these boxes. If that's a 9, that's a 9, that's a 9, that's a 9, then they're all rotationally symmetrical. But alternatively, they could be, in those positions. Now, does this bring me back to this? It does, because this can't be 9 anymore. So, actually I had left 8 out of my reckoning before, but still, maybe these can still be 6 or 7. No, they can't. Right, I've got it. Sorry, this is very obvious to you guys because you're smart. I'm catching up. If red was if red was low, I'm trying to rule out that yellow is high, and it seems possible in the corners. But if red was if red was low, one of these 4 digits would be a 4. And what does 4 have next to it on a whisper line? It always has 9 next to it. So one of these would be a 9, and that's impossible. So we know that these are low, and you've known that for some time, and I've just caught up and figured it out. So red is high. Actually, these are 6, 7, 8, 9 in this central box, so that's a 5. This is a 1, because one of the things it's touching is a 6. And these are 2, 3, and 4. That 5 has been used up in this box. 7 is now definitely in one of these cells. Okay. These don't have to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 set. Although one of them does have to be a 1 because there will be a 6 here. And there will also be, they're probably not a 1, 2, 3, 4 set, but I don't know what they are. So, it's a clever puzzle, this. I like the way it's unfolding. It's very surprising, actually. Now, these 2, 3s, and 4s, these are very low numbers to put into a 31 cage. What could you have? Could you have another low digit in a 31 cage? If you had 4 and 3 as the 2 low digits, yes, you could. I was trying to rule this out of being low and make that 6 or 8 as well, which would have been quite interesting. Oh, where does 9 go in the perimeters? It's always in the 15 cage because it can't be on the arrows and it's not in the corners. That's interesting. Hadn't seen that coming. So these boxes that are 15 cages are always 915 or 942. That asks interesting questions about other digits, doesn't it? I don't know, maybe it doesn't. It says that in the 31 cages, none of these cells are 9. Now, I think a 31 cage probably needs a 9 in it. If you didn't have a 9 in the 31 cage, it would be at a maximum 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. That adds up to 30. So the 31 cages have a 9 in, and the 9 in those ones is there, and that tells us where the rotational places for 9s in the corner cage, in the corner boxes are. And now these cells do not have 9s in. And 2 of them are 8s and 2 of them are 4s. Because the corners must have 2 7s and 2 8s in. This cannot be an 8-4 black dot now because it would break that cell. That's intriguing. So this is a 6-3 black dot. Now we can fill in 7, 8. And this 35 cage is complete. Somehow we still don't know what this is, but we know this is a pair that adds up to 6. Because it's whatever remains after this cage has taken one pair that adds up to 6. Now, I might have to come back to this black dot. This is kind of the last disambiguator between these cages, which is, again, a very strange notion. Now, we've got a 3, 1, and 8 looking down the grid at this cell. So this is 2, 4, or 6, the other remaining possible black dot digits. Now, if that was 6, this would be 3, that would be 4, and we'd have 8 and 7 here. It's much more likely that this is low, 2 or 4, and that's high. But likely achieves nothing. What are we going to put in here? Based on that, I don't know, there are still 5 possible digits here. No, maybe not, because what's going to go in here? 9, 5, 4, 2 or 1. Yeah, no, that still leaves a lot of optionality here. This is 2, 4, 6 or 7, just according to the column. And the fact that that can't be a 9. Now, I don't think this can be a 2, 4 pair, because that would add up to 6 plus 9 is 15, and then you'd have 8 and 7, and that 8 would cause a 4 clash. So this is not a 2, 4 pair, and that is therefore a higher digit, 6 or 7. Now, 11, 20. These add up to at least 11. I'm so tempted. Oh, this cannot be a 4-8 pair either because of that thing. So this digit is not an 8. It's also not a 6. Because 3 is not an option here. Ah, so this is a low digit. And I think we worked out the only way for these both to be low is to be 4 and 3. And I think we're away now. 3 there, 6 there. That's a 7. I think 8 makes this cage add up now. It does. This is now 2 or 4. And that makes this a 9-2-4 cage. Now we've got 1-5 here. We've also got a 1-5 pair there. So 1 and 5 have to be in these 3 cells. So at least one of them is in these 2, and we know that they add up to 6. So they're 1-5 as well. This is now a 9-2-4 triple. These central digits can't be 4. Now, looking at the orange cells, these can't be 8, and these can't be 6 or 7. So now these can't be 9. Now, these are 6 and 7. The digits touching them on the whisper must be a 1-2 pair. The 6 has to have a 1, and the 7, therefore, in the same column, can't have a 1 and must have a 2. Now, we've got 2, 4, 9 here. Let's have a think about the 7-8 pair. The other digits are 6, 3, 5, and 1. I don't know why I've listed them in that order, because the order they will actually go together is a 6-1 pair and a 5-3 pair. Maybe I should do this 31 cage first. I don't really know. I don't quite know where I'm meant to go. 2, 4, 9, 7, 8. Again, these are from 1, 3, 5, 6 down here as well. So those digits can't be 1 because of the 1-2 pair we created here. I have a feeling this can't be a 1-2 pair for some reason. I don't know what that reason is. Oh, 8 there and 8 there have made these 2 cells 4s. Now, once we get 9 and 4 there, we know this is an 8. Because if it was a 7, you couldn't put 8 on an arrow. So that's an 8. These corners are 7s. This corner's an 8. This pair is a 3-5 pair. This pair is a 6-1 pair, and we know the order. This pair is a 3-5 pair. This pair is a 6-1 pair, and we don't know the order, I don't think. But in the boxes with 7 in the circle, we need to put 8 off arrows, so those are 8s. 1 there fixes this as 2, which makes this 7, which allows this to be 1 and that to be 6. This is 7 on the arrow. We just add up the arrows. I'd forgotten to do that. 4, 3. This is a 2-6 pair, like that. And look, rows 7 and 8 are falling into place almost entirely. That's a 2-3 pair. This is 5 and 4. We know the order because of that 4. Now we just add up the arrows and we can fill them in. So rows 7 and 8 are complete. I imagine we can do rows 2 and 3 at the same time. 7 and 2 there, yes, we can count the arrows. Now those German whisper cells are giving no clue as to how those unfold, but that's fine. This is a 9-1-5 cage, and I think this probably is as well, yes. Now, this 31 cage has a 9 in it. These are from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just going to pencil mark this in case it helps. That's from 1, 2, 3, 8. Now, if that was low, 1, 2, or 3, and this is definitely low. Oh, these can't be 4. There's the important point. Right, this can't be low because 2 lows there would be a maximum of 5 between them, plus that is 14. These would need to add up to 17, and they can't. So this is not... I feel like I did the maths wrong there. No, I didn't. That's fine. This is not low. This is therefore the 8. And that fixes 9 and 8 in the central box. These can't be 9s. This one can't be a 5, interestingly, because that digit can't be 4 or 6, which are sitting there. So that's a 1 touching a 2. We can fill in 9 and 5. Now we can fill in 9 here, and 5 and 1. That's again a 1 touching a 2. Now, this cage, 17, we need 14 more from these. So this is at least 11. It doesn't have a 3 in it. Doesn't have a 5 in it, because we've placed a 5 in the cage. So it's got a 7 in it, and either 4 or 6. Well, only one of those is going to work. 24, 8, 7, 4, 3. It would be the same makeup as this cage. That does work. 9, 8, 7, 6 doesn't work. It would need a 1 here. So it is 9, 8, 7, 4, 3. This cage now has a 2 in it. Oh, well, let's just finish off this box as far as we can, which is all the way. And these columns, and this column, and probably these columns now. That's not a 9, so the 9 is here. Now that's a 2, that's 4, that's 9, that is 2, that's 4 on the dot. This is a 3 to finish the row. I could add up this cage and work this out, but I think ordinary Sudoku will prove our final box. And there we go. That's not too bad at all. That's a very clever puzzle, actually. Just under 20 minutes and all enjoyment. I mean, a lot of the techniques that we've come to know and love from things like German whispers and arrows, but all put together in a very satisfying way there. And some slightly intricate maths to do with these cages as well. Really nice. I'd be very interested in how you found that. I think it's a good puzzle by Donatello. And I commend him to you. Thank you for watching, as always. We will see you again maybe tomorrow if you come back for more. And why wouldn't you? And as it is, bye for now.